So tell me, who are you?
My name is Joan Duckworth, and I am one of the owners of the Bonham Exchange in San Antonio, Texas. I am the protector of the Happy Foundation since Gene has passed away. I helped him whenever he needed help with this, but he was pretty self-sufficient. He would clip articles and write to uh, publications all over the U.S., and he would save them and document them for the history. My position now is I'm the caretaker of the history before we are going to be donating it to the UTSA so it will be documented as world history. So I'm the caretaker. Well, Arthur Veltman was the creator of the Riverwalk. He renovated the St. Mary's Strip to become what it is today. He was a big mover and shaker. He helped with develop the Blue Star Art Complex, the San Antonio Country, and the Bonham Exchange, where we are today. He was a visionary and had a view of life that we all should have. He's a great guy. The San Antonio Country was a very unique place. It was inside a building that was built in 1939. It was a beautiful building, and it collected all these eclectic, different kind of people. The people that went to the country were all kinds of walks of life. People would be architects or artists or everything. This is the kind of place you could go. There were no cameras, so nobody could out you to the public. And it was the kind of place you could just go and live and let live and be who you are. There's not always places for you can actually be yourself at. It was an excellent bar and lots of fun. Wish we could bottle that. The way it all started with me as I was disco dancing with other high school students down on the Riverwalk because we were teenagers. We couldn't get in bars, but we could go to a restaurant that had a dance floor. So we would dance the hustle, and in came Happy and Kenneth, and Happy says, "Joan, would you go to a gay bar?" And I said, "Yeah, but I'm only 17. He goes, "When you turn 18 years old, you come to San Antonio Country, I'll buy you your first drink." So I went to the Magic Time Machine because I had a crush on the Bumblebee. Had dinner there and then went to the country, and I went, whose fate plays out when they're 18 on their 18th birthday? You know, I'm with the Bumblebee. He's my lifelong companion now, and I'm steering the ship here. But
Wow.
it just happened.
So we're currently standing within the current room of the Happy Foundation, right?
Yes.
So tell me, what can you tell me and how was this archive curated?
Well, the archive was curated by Gene Elder. He has been collecting gay memorabilia for 30 years. He's documented the progress of the gay community as well as court cases. And in general, he knew that the history of the gay community and the progress of it was important to all of us for historical benefits for all, not just for us, but for the generations to come.
Well, Happy died of AIDS in 1988, and he had left in his will, he had requested that there be a Happy Foundation. He really didn't define it, even though I think he understood it at the time that he wanted to give support to legal issues. That would have been the thing at the time, was fighting things legally and politically, and he was wanting to be supportive of that. Now, it turns out that all his wealth and properties and everything that he had accumulated, you know, went their different ways according to the arrangement with his partnerships. the bottom became Kenneth's. Kenneth is Hap's surviving, Kenneth Garrett, Hap's surviving partner. And Wade Strow was Happy's other boyfriend. They all lived together. And I approached Wade at the time when I found out that he wanted to start the Happy Foundation, and I said, well, Wade, if we're going to do this, we have to do it now. You don't wait till everybody's dead and then start the Happy Foundation. You know, it won't get done. Mm-hmm. And Wade was very bright, and he understood that, and he bought me a video camera, and I started interviewing people and doing video documentaries. And I had come to the realization at that point, but we noticed that as people were dying of AIDS, the families would come in and take the TV in the car in the house, and everything that had to do with their family member being gay got thrown in the trash. Mm. You know, their letters, their photographs, this kind of stuff was all, the family didn't want to keep any of that. Mm-hmm. So I realized that you were losing some history that way, as well as that all our history was in newspapers that were all being thrown out.
Well, we were rated, we, being the San Antonio country, were rated several times. We would be put on the banned list because the military people were not allowed to go to gay establishments. And Happy, who was a lawyer, would fight for the rights. He'd go down to Fort Sam and he would go legal on them and say, we have a right to do this. We didn't necessarily say we were a gay bar. In fact, that was part of the hidden agenda. You didn't say it was a gay bar because then you were for sure on the list. You just said you were a bar, and to have to fight for your rights to be who you are is not right. You should be able to love who you want without being raided by the military. They would come in and shake down anybody who looked like they had short hair and could be in the military. And Happy would go time after time and go get us off the banned list. In fact, now Fort Sam calls me and they want us to advertise in their little newspaper. So that's progress, but it came at a price. We had to go to court many, many times to fight for the rights of people today. That's the important part.
But there wasn't a whole lot going on. As a matter of fact, we weren't even aware of Stonewall at the time. I certainly wasn't. Now, maybe Happy was, but we never ever talked about it. I mean, San Antonio was isolated. Mm. We were doing this kind of on our own. I think we had more encouragement from maybe our friends that had been going to San Francisco more than we were aware of New York.
Yes, Gene would know. Gene is the one who would document the history and stuff. We were aware of it, but it's just something that happened up in New York, and many of my friends were still in the closet. They didn't tell their family that they were gay because they wouldn't get invited to Thanksgiving dinner. And in general, what happened in Stonewall helped all of us. It became a good reason for everybody to stand up and say who they are, because we should all be able to love who we want. That's a basic right we all have. Well, Gene ran for mayor. He ran under the party. He was just trying to get attention, but oddly enough, he did come in fourth, right underneath the Raza Unida party, and he liked to make a stand to get attention and, bring attention to his causes. He was a very eccentric person, and that's the kind of thing he would do, run for mayor when he wasn't going to win. But he was a wonderful guy, too. And Melissa did her internship here, so she knows where everything is. She did? So she came in here when she was going to school to get her degree, and she did her internship here. And right before Gene died, he started a folder, and it's got one piece of paper, and it's got Melissa Gohlke, and she goes, "Look!" And I said, "Don't you understand? You're now the gay historian," which is great. It's wonderful.
how did the demise of the country come about? Why did it close? I mean, that's a long. It started in 73 through 81. That's 8 years that it was open.
It was going strong, doing just fine. Like I said, AIDS hadn't come in yet. The gay community was just getting stronger and more personable, and everybody was really fine with, you know, the TV stations would come down during Halloween, and on the news they would talk about what's going on at the country, and then Valero bought the property on the other side of the river where that building still stands, and they proceeded to, and this was Gohlke, they knew that they wanted the property on our property on opposite of them on the river for a parking lot, is basically what it got down to. And Gohlke, Valero, was not really apparently understanding the good reputation that the San Antonio country had in the community, because he immediately started harassing Hap that it was, you know, with the usual kind of stuff like this is a bad place, you know, there's homosexuals there and there's sex going, whatever he made up, I can't remember at the time, but basically being trying to undermine the country so that they could turn it into a parking lot. He wanted to buy it. Hap wasn't really interested in selling it and didn't really know that that's what Gohlke was up to for a long time. He thought he was in discussions with him, I don't know, whatever they were discussing, because Hap was always trying to figure out how to develop the river. Well, anyway, it got to a push come to shove sort of thing, and since the newspapers and everybody knew the country, it kind of backfired on him. It made the Valero look like what they really were, was the hateful aggressor to the situation. And out of that, apparently Happy decided to sell it, and he took the money from the sale. In other words, he got a lot more money from it than if Valero had been successful about undermining the country. They could have just kind of run us out of business and taken over. But that didn't happen, and Hap got a sizable amount of money, and he decided to sell the country and then buy the bottom. Which was actually, Happy's thinking at the time, I'm sure, as well as, apparently to everybody, anybody that's paying attention is like, well, that was strategic, have a gay bar next to the Alamo, that's pretty good, And of course it was a building that Happy, could take pride in. So.
A historic building.
Yeah. And he, got me to be the owner, so that, on paper I was the owner. But that's how the partnership worked. I was just, the manager, which I did earn my salary because I was the manager.
Watching Pride grow from nothing to what it is today is just joyful for me, because we should be proud of who we are, and it's wonderful that we're accepted by the community in general, not just our community. The community in general in San Antonio, we get the support of people, and it is a wonderful thing to watch grow and be accepted. I love the Rainbow Crosswalk because that shows San Antonio does support our community, and the fact that we can have a cluster of bars in an area where people feel safe to be themselves is progress for all of us. When I was a teenager, people were hiding who they were. Now they're out loud and proud, which is wonderful. What's good for them is good for all of us. You should never take your freedom for granted. People fought for your ability to stand up and be who you are and love who you want. And it can go away again. You have to always vote, be proactive, and keep it going in the positive direction for the next generation. We did it for you guys, and you're going to have to do it for the next generation. Do not take your freedom for granted ever. I think that I would like for everyone to remember that being who you are is important. Whether it is it's who you love, whether it's the color of your skin, whether it's where you are from. We have to accept each other and love each other for who we are. And being gay is very important to not hide who you are. You have to be who you are and fight for the other people that need to be protected. Never forget, your freedoms can be lost. Don't let that happen.